Before I get into this video, I was wrong about something, or I was off anyway, about something I said in yesterday's video. I did that very fast before it got dark. I was excited. My excitement has dipped significantly since people who were in the court yesterday have come out and given us some more context of some of the things that went on. But anyway, I thought the gag order was brought up in court yesterday. It wasn't. It was filed and it was put up in the portal and journalists tweeted about it. So I had just assumed that this was something that got brought up. It wasn't, but it makes me wonder why. The fact that it was filed and then the prosecutor decided not to bring it up makes me think that they did have a little conversation about it. And yesterday I was looking at this from the girl's family side. I was like, yeah, good idea. It will stop the media hounding them. And we seen an example of that afterwards when they just walked past the media. So I think they were briefed on it, but it's not in play yet. It's just been asked for. But look at this from Richard's defence side. There is a probable cause document that is sealed. So you have someone locked up, charged them with a horrific crime. You haven't told anyone why. He has been kept in confinement for his own safety. His family is in hiding. And now you want to gag his defence team and his family from even talking about it. That's a bit much. It's a bit much. And I think his defence team will have a real problem with it. And maybe they told the prosecutor this, and that's why it wasn't brought up. It hasn't been granted yet. And we seen Richard's defence team yesterday yap away to the media after the hearing. And since that, and since people have watched his defence team, I feel it's taken a turn. I feel they've grabbed control of the narrative these last few days. We have learned a lot from the people inside the courtroom and how things played out. And that has me very worried, to be honest. Very worried. I think Richard's team are doing a really good job. I know a lot of you aren't buying it and see through it. But that stuff works. I want to go through some of it. Like, why are they doing such a good job? What did they do? What did they say? Few red flags from the Prosecutors Office, which has me questioning them. But from the defence team side, it's their job to cast doubt on this case. I'm aware of their job and what they are trying to do, but it's still kind of working on me a little bit. My hopes of a conviction have dipped, and I don't like it. They are putting some doubt out there, and that's their job. But the stuff they are saying does trickle down into a potential jury pool. I don't like it. I'm a complete hypocrite here because I have said in the past that if we get justice in this case, I don't care if the police do that. Primes a jury pool a little bit. But when it's the defence, I don't like it. I don't like when the shoe is on the other foot like that. They're good. They are good, but don't forget they are attorneys. And don't take anything they say at face value as a fact. They filed Richard's bond hearing the night before. I talked about that in one of the videos yesterday. Like, no way Richard is getting it on bond. That's just a strategic move from them. But one of the big things that got brought up and it isn't getting much attention yesterday was a mistake that the Prosecutors Office made. It's not huge, it's not detrimental, but it's very, very worrying. Basically, they didn't process the paperwork correctly. What I think could have happened is they filed 4 exhibits yesterday, 2 from 2 agents that had been filed previously about why the document should be sealed, 1 from Becky Patty and then another one, the online petition. Those 2 original affidavits from the officers on their reasons why these documents should be sealed. We don't know what they said, we just know a kind of summary of it. But I think from what I can gather, when they took those statements from those officers, they should have been taken under oath, and they weren't. It's not a case of, oh, it was done wrong, unseal everything. No, it's seen more of a paperwork error. But what the hell? Are you serious? The public outcry and the public scrutiny in this case, and you're filing your paperwork wrong. It's a dangerous game, that's dangerous stuff, and it's a huge red flag for me. Also, a good indication that this defence team is going to pounce on anything they see. If they see a gap, if they see a weak point, they're going to be straight in there. The Prosecutor's Office has to do better. They have to do better than that. A few other things that came out, and most of this information here that I'm going to give you, I'm getting from, I talked about them before, HLN will be very good in this case, and the murder sheet, Anya and Kevin. They did a very quick turnaround on a podcast yesterday. They ran over to the library afterwards Anya sounded bait. They were up early. Still not first in the queue though, so that would tell you. But make sure you check those two out. I'll leave a few links down below. HLN, Murder Sheet, Richard's defence attorney talking. Check that video out if you haven't. But a few other things we learned from yesterday is the judge is very tough. No nonsense approach from her. She said if a phone goes off in the court, it's not just going to be confiscated, it's going to be destroyed. I don't know about that. I don't know, is that legal? But I'd be putting my phone on silent pretty fast if she said that. What I like about those two sources as well for the information is they're different. We heard on HLN Barbara talking. Barbara has no glasses on. I thought they made a mistake when they went to her at the start, but it's not. It's Barbara. I don't know where her glasses are gone. I hope she didn't lose them. But there was a big difference when both described Richard walking into the courtroom. Anya said that she thought he looked a bit embarrassed. He didn't really look at anyone. He just looked through people. And then Barbara said that no, he looked at everyone in the eye in the front 2 rows. He sat down. He was curious, looking around at the building. But it's definitely worth checking out both, because these things can just be perspective. So it's good to have 2 people having a different kind of opinion on what they think they witnessed. I liked also the way he was chained up, the way they were talking about the chains being high. Love it. Love all that stuff. Here's a little sketch. I think a few sketches were released last night. I'll put it up here from the sketch artist in the court of Richard and a few of the attorneys. Prosecutors said they have good reason to believe other people are involved. There was a reference to minors. There's minors in the document and people who were minors at the time but aren't minors now. All that will be sealed. No one has any problem with that. But it might be a slight indication that perhaps Richard was using one of the profiles. Maybe even the Emily Ann account, which I'll talk about later. The prosecutors already prepared a redacted version in advance, and they gave a copy to the judge and they gave a copy to the defence. And I think that's a good indication that they're expecting that redacted version to be released. I think that's what's going to happen. And that was the main things really. Richard's defence talked to the media for about 15 minutes. They said a lot. It has definitely worked. So much so, I'm starting to think that, is it in the prosecutor's best interest now to release the redacted version that they are comfortable with, rather than nothing at all and letting all this stuff build up? Because whatever's in that document, and you need to put your best foot forward and get a judge to sign it off, but you might want to hold something back from the defence, so it's a tricky one. Usually everything is in there, but this isn't a usual type case. Whatever is in there, Richard's attorneys are confident they can just explain it away. Was he using a social media account that he should not have been using? It's interesting to note that the Emily Ann account in the Kegan Kline documents, we know from a conversation there, an older man was referenced. The age of that older man was 43. Richard Allen would have been 43 at the time. Is it something like that? And my bigger question here, I can talk about it here because it's the end of the video. Only a tiny percentage of you listen this far in, but like, what's the story with TK? Why can't they get him? If they believe he is involved, if the investigation was moving in that way, they searched the Wabash River, they searched his mother's back garden, they raided his home last November, December. It looks like they do not have the evidence. They don't have it. They might believe he's involved, but they can't even get an arrest warrant, never mind a conviction here. And I don't know what they're waiting on. Like, what's going to come to light in the next couple of weeks that will suddenly crack it that way if TK is involved? Kegan's words, that's meaningless. Like, you can't go into court with that. It looks like they're desperate for some physical evidence and they just can't find it. And I'm also worried that if you needed time, if time was so important here, you need to talk to Kegan again, you need to run down a few other things. Did you rush it? Did you rush arresting Richard? Like, could you not wait in a few weeks if that's the case? Just keep eyes on him, obviously, but I wonder, did they get a bit excited and did they go for the arrest a bit earlier than they should? I worry that they might struggle to get a conviction here. I worry that they believe other people are involved, but they have no evidence to back that up. They can't even get an arrest warrant, never mind try and get a conviction there. And the whole thing just has me a bit worried that Like I said in yesterday's video, I don't want the feeling, and I don't want it for the girls' families either, that at the end of all this, that everybody who's involved in the murder of Abby and Libby isn't caught and isn't done. I want justice. I want full justice for Abby and Libby. It's just all a bit concerning. I am slightly worried. I know what the defence team is trying to do. I'm aware that they're attorneys, but some of it is just working slightly on me. Concerned about the prosecution and some of the steps they've taken. And like the overall thing there is just concern around getting justice for Abby and Libby. That's what we all want. Good luck. God bless. I hope everyone has a lovely day.